Thank you for watching our video. This show is sponsored by DreamStream. DreamStream is a unique platform where creators can monetize their video content. All creators rely on support from people like you. Join us on the DreamStream platform to support your favorite creator and view the episode without any adverts. Follow the link in the description for a how-to guide. DreamStream, a place where you can create yourself.
Hello and welcome to the Good Vibes Only show. My name is Kgoroeadira and I'm super excited for the guest that I have in studio today. His name is Baloyi. He's a content producer. He's a reality TV star and doing amazing in the field that he's in. So I'm super excited, like I said, to have him in studio and just to chat about his journey. Given, how are you?
I'm good.
Thank you so much for coming.
Good. I'm glad you said your surname because I've been reading it.
Yeah,
And
you
I'm
don't know how to pronounce
struggling.
it.
So you said it was like, oh, yeah.
That's how you say it.
Yeah.
So, Given, tell me a bit about yourself outside of work. I want to know where you're from, what brings you joy, what people can just see and feel when they're around your presence.
Given is a young gay man from Soshanguve in Pretoria. I grew up pretty simple, pretty
Yeah.
normal. I'd say, for the most part, you have some terrible experiences growing up and that sort of thing, and you end up thinking I had a terrible childhood, right? But when I look back now, I'm like, actually, my childhood wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Yeah, could it have been, better in terms of certain things? Yes, but I had a pretty good normal childhood. Went to a decent school. I don't see it as decent now. But then,
Why?
it's decent. It's decent. Okay, it's decent. Let's leave it
Yeah.
at that. It's
Okay.
decent. I think now I'm very like, and now I've seen the levels, so now I'm
Yeah.
like, it's not
You're not
anyway.
being peaky.
Yeah, now I'm like,
Yeah.
it's not a saint or
Yeah.
anything, but it was it was a good school. Produced me. So grew up in Pretoria, very small town type. I mean, Pretoria's not a small town, but it gives those vibes in parts. And
Yeah.
so that's how I pretty much grew up, very sort of small town type living,
Yeah.
where you go to school, you go to work, you come back, and you just live your best, really, I guess.
Mm.
Um, Growing up, I was always very sort of optimistic, and I think my best friend would always allude to this. And I realize now that when I look back, I'm like, I'm always been that way.
Yeah.
So that's who I am, vibe wise. I'm always like a positivity. I call myself a positivity advocate these days.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
good. Yeah.
because it's something that's very natural to me,
Yes.
that has always been there, that I think no matter what goes on, I'm always trying to be like, okay, cool, what can we do about it? How can we make it better? How can we be more positive about the situation?
Mm.
And so, yeah, in a nutshell, that's kind of who I am.
Yeah.
Young boy from Pretoria, went to varsity at Tux for a little bit, quit very quickly because
Okay.
I realized it wasn't for me. I was studying BCom accounting at the time.
Okay.
And then my mom and I were like, okay, cool, just get some degree anyway. So I studied BCom Business Informatics at UNISA, got that degree. And while I was doing that, that's when I started at YFM.
Okay. I was about to ask, how did your radio journey then begin? And have you always just been passionate about the radio space?
So I know when I think back, I remember being young and always loving like sort of music and doing plays and that sort of thing. I remember in grade 3, I was lead honey for all the plays,
Yeah.
all the musicals. It was
Oh,
me,
no,
like
the
my teacher,
star.
yeah. My dad's pretty
Yeah.
Lion King,
Yeah.
Hotsenan,
Whoa.
Baring, Hotsenan.
There.
That's what it was, yeah. And so, I've always been into spaces
Yes.
of arts and entertainment and that sort of thing.
Mm.
And then I guess as you grow up, I remember I got very much into news, but in
Mm-hmm.
particular I remember being in grade 11, and I really enjoyed news. And I remember how it hit me. I was watching the 2009 elections
Yeah.
on television. I was in grade 11, so obviously it's a public holiday on that day. I can't vote, I'm 17.
Yes.
But I'm watching the screen the whole day, watching the news reports as I'm doing my assignments and my homework. And that was the first moment I was like, huh, I really like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, I hadn't really figured it out. And television was actually the thing that I really was looking towards doing
Ah.
for the longest time.
Mm.
I remember when I was at Tux in those early days, I did a lot of auditions for TV and that sort of thing. None of it really worked out. And then, but so all of that stuff was not working out so much that I was sort of giving up. And then a friend of mine then told me about the Y Academy and said, hey, the Academy applications are open. What she didn't know is that I had seen the applications like a week before.
Yeah.
But I had decided I don't want disappointment. Let's just leave it. It's fine.
Yes.
But then she's like, no, just do it. And
You never know what would happen.
yeah, and a lot
Mm.
has happened since then.
Yeah. So is content producing something that you thoroughly enjoy? Because there's a lot of elements that go into it,
Mm.
right? And people just see it as it is. But there's a lot of features, there's show topics that you have to come up with. There's just a lot that goes into it that we don't even know. So
Mm.
could you further elaborate what content producing is all about and what it entails?
So for myself, it's not something I wanted thought to do. I didn't
Yeah.
even know it was a thing.
Yeah.
I got into radio, did my journalism thing for a bit there, and then sort of at some point moved into production, then started content producing, and it was natural for me.
Mm.
I remember seeing an interview when I was growing up, and someone was describing what it mean, how to what to see in yourself to know that you want to be like a journalist or in media.
Yeah.
And they said you need to have a natural curiosity, and content production is very much about that. If you have a natural curiosity for content,
Mm.
you want to know things, you want to do things, you want to know everything, you're
Yeah.
curious about everything excites you, everything makes you find a lot of things interesting.
Mm.
That's number one. You just need to have that as a just a thing, and that's why I enjoy my job every day, because it's not
Mm.
it's not work, it's like something I would do anyway.
Yes.
But essentially it's that it's really being curious, collecting information, putting it together, finding creative ways of sharing it with your listener.
Mm.
And with us, because we're entertainment radio, that's always really the crux of it, right? You have to sort of find something and say, could be interesting to my listener. How can I make it exciting for them as well? How can I rephrase? Sometimes you find the topic, and I think now, because we're now almost 10 years in the business.
Yeah.
This is my 10th
Ooh,
year. Yeah, so
congratulations, though.
thank you.
That's a milestone, eh?
It really is. It really is.
Jeebus.
I'm in my 10th year.
Sure.
But now that I've gotten to that point, it also means I've done so many topics and
Yeah.
so many interviews and so many other things. So now I've reached a space now where it's about reinvention of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Because everything you come to me with, it's like, okay, I've done that before. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Oh, no, I did. I remember the other day, there was a topic and I went into my emails and I was like, okay, I definitely did that in 2015.
Mm.
Um,
And you remember that far.
100. Oh no, you remember everything you've done. You don't
Yeah.
forget.
Yeah.
And that's how I'm always like, I definitely did that before. But there's nothing new under the sun, so
Yeah.
everything can be redone. So I ask myself, is it still interesting now?
Mm.
And how can I elevate it?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's really what it is. If content production for radio is what's interesting, how can I elevate it? How can I make it entertaining? How can I make it informative? And how can I just get my listener to escape into that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a difference between content production for radio and television? You did mention that you would like to, or you would have liked to get into the television space.
Yeah, at the time I only now interacted with more sort of TV content production.
Yeah.
I guess it's similar. It depends on what you're doing, right? Obviously, in my scenario, my experience right now is of a reality show.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not the content producer, but I obviously have had discussions with them, so I can
Yes.
sort of get an idea of what they're doing. It's different for reality. It's a bit different because they're just pretty much saying, it's actually kind of similar then.
Yeah.
Because it's similar. It's a thing of, okay, cool, what's going on in your life, and then let's put on TV.
Mm.
But it's obviously a bit structured and that sort of thing. But it's literally what's going on in your life, let's put on TV. So you're not really doing as much in terms of like elevating it and whatever, because it's real. So
Yeah.
you're just asking me to be real.
Yeah.
What you're asking me about is, what do you need us to highlight?
Mm.
Or rather, they ask you questions, and then they will decide what they think they'll highlight and
Mm.
that sort of thing. Because they can't show everything about your life at the same time.
Yeah.
And so that's just how it is.
How do you keep content relevant? You mentioned that there's an importance because there's certain things that you've done prior that you obviously won't do
Mm.
now. How do you continue to do that?
I think I get bored easily, so that's something like a personality trait for me that really works.
Yeah.
I get very bored by like just like average. If something is average, like even if I'm doing something average,
Mm.
I'm gonna have a very bad day at the office that day because I'm
Mm.
just like,
What am I doing?
no,
Yeah.
yeah, oh, this sounds boring, it sounds
Yeah.
lame, yeah.
Yeah.
So how do I keep it relevant is I want it to be relatable more than anything. I think
Mm.
that's for me the crux of what I do, and what my aesthetic is as a producer is
Yeah.
relatability, relatability, relatability. I want you as a listener, if you're in your car, when you
Mm.
hear it,
Mm.
you need to be like, oh, what? I think on my show today we were asking people, what are your necessities to pack in an overnight bag when you're
Yeah.
visiting Bay?
Yeah.
And you could hear the responses. People are like, girl, I know, I pack, some people are
Yes.
packing snacks. And I was like, why are you packing snacks to go to your van? Like, yeah.
I had this snack.
Exactly, but all of that is relatable, right? Because now
Yeah.
we're discussing it. Even us behind the scenes, we're now having our own chats. We're going, oh, if you're
Mm.
bringing snacks, what's going on? All this.
Mm.
And so for me, it's always about life,
Yeah.
putting it forward and letting us all discuss it. I think through content on radio in particular, you can get to really weave the connection between all of us.
Yeah.
I think people can then see themselves in other people.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure there's someone who heard that snack thing and thought, oh, Kanji Akiwan, and there's someone else doing the same thing. There's someone else who's doing that. Someone else who's packing that. Or or they'll think, oh, that's why I had a problem the last time. I went on that over to my man's house and I actually didn't pack pajamas. So now I
Yeah.
was uncomfortable in my freaking dress the whole night.
Yeah.
And so it's those kind of things. It's about weaving connection and saying, hey, you're just as normal as the rest of us.
Yes.
We're also going through the same thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I think I try to keep content relevant.
And what's the importance now between a producer and the host of a specific show? Because you obviously have to communicate, you have to ensure that you implement that vision that you have in making sure that the show is a success. So, what is the importance of actually having a relationship, apart from just a working relationship, but a common relationship to reach a goal of the show?
It's extremely important.
Yeah.
I believe in that 100%. I always say to any of the teams that I work with is we work in a very emotional, passionate space, and that has to be recognized. We're not, accountants, nothing wrong with being an accountant. Sitting at your desk, you're just doing your thing and,
Yes.
file whatever, send it to the next person. That's not how we work. We work in a very emotional space. And so we have to sort of understand each other at a deeper level. What makes them tick? What do they actually like? What are they enjoying? What's happening in their lives right now?
Yeah.
And so for me, it's always important to be as close to my host as I possibly can, to build as close a relationship as I possibly can. I think that's why till this day, I don't have a single host that I've worked with that I'm not on speaking terms with
Yeah.
or anything like that.
Yeah.
Most of them are my closest friends now. And some of them we are friends. We see each other. We're in a good space. It's because I've always made sure that we build that relationship because it's just pivotal to the content. And also now you're able to come up with things that they'll enjoy, so that when they come on air, they sound like they're enjoying it, and
Yes.
then they put it forward.
Yeah.
And so that's a very important thing for me. So we always have to meet. We have to build some sort of friendship. We can't have a sort of we just come to studio, hey, do my thing, I'm out. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
we have to after work drinks, meet up at some party, invite you over to my house or something. Those
Yeah.
kind of things.
Yeah.
That has to be a thing.
What are some of the challenges there are that you're faced within the industry and in your working relationships?
Need a photo studio? The Dreamstream Photo Studio includes a 2.7-meter PVC backdrop in black and white and is available for only 115 rands per hour. You can also rent a Canon R6 and lights. All rentals are for studio use only. Terms and conditions apply. Contact studio at dreamstream.co.za.
Thank you, Ben, for coming out tonight. My name is Son of Augustus. Let's go.
Just generally, I think one thing I think has been quite a lie that I've learned is coming into the business, you always hear about how terrible Joe Wig is and
Yes.
how industry people are like this. I think there's one or two people that are like that, but for the most part, people have always been very lovely,
Yeah.
very helpful. People just want to work together. They don't really pose much of like a threat to you or anything
Yeah.
like that. Everyone just wants to collaborate, work together, be nice to each other, help each other. That's something that I found happens way more often than not. But in terms of challenges, I don't know. I think
It's been 10 years.
Yeah.
So there should be one or two.
I I don't know. I
Yeah.
think wow, I've never really thought about that.
Is it?
I don't think it's because the challenges are not there. It's because my mindset is always to be very like I'm solutions oriented. So
Yeah.
when something happens, I'm just like, okay, that's an issue. Let's move into
Yeah.
that. Okay, that's whatever. Let's fix it. I'm always like, what's the positive thing to do?
Yeah.
What's the loving thing to do? I'm always thinking in that way. So I don't. A lot of the times I don't recognize my own challenges as challenges. Even like the thing I said about like sort of my past growing up.
Yeah.
Some of the things I mentioned to people, they get shocked. They're like, oh my word, I'm so sorry.
Mm.
Whatever. In my head, I'm like, yeah, those things happen to me, but I was very immediately very like, oh, okay, cool, that's good. Let's move forward. Let's do the
Yeah.
other thing. Okay, that's sad, but let's move forward. So I think even if there've been challenges, I haven't really picked up on them. I think I also just generally try to be as open and
Optimistic as well.
as I possibly can. I
Yeah.
think that's what helps me. I don't really register challenges.
Yeah.
I don't see them as challenges. I see them as just like an opportunity for growth, I guess.
But I think you love your job that much that everything is just a good thing.
The challenges are
The
a good thing.
challenges are good. You learn from the challenges,
Yeah.
so you implement
Yeah.
from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My only challenge I'll say would have been social media. At some point, I just couldn't.
Uh-huh.
Because I think being in this business these days requires you to have a digital footprint.
Yeah.
And for me, it was a lot of like anxiety inducing stuff. Like, we're on Twitter and, this one is bashing that one and they putting each other apart and whatever. So the only challenge for me would be like the negativity that comes with the sort of thing.
Yeah.
People sort of critiquing your work, but not in a mean way. There's good criticism, there's a
Yes.
good, I wish you'd done that. But then there's someone just saying, why are you speaking on
Just
air?
to be
You
mean.
sound, yeah, they just
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that for me is the bigger challenge in terms of that. And just sort of for me to get over that and to understand how to be on social media and enjoy it for myself, but create my own space and not let other people sort of dictate my experience.
Yeah.
That has been like, I think, probably the biggest challenge.
Now let's talk about reality TV. How exciting!
Very exciting. We're on BET, honey.
Yes, honey. How's that going?
It's going amazing. We literally just wrapped
Mhm.
shooting last week. It's been incredible. I mean, when my friend Tando called me
Yeah.
to tell me about, so let's reverse a little bit.
Yeah.
So we had been discussing it and chatting about it over time, blah blah, that sort of thing. She wasn't really too sure for the longest time, that sort of thing. But then, life is life. Eventually, it actually comes forward, and then she called me one day and said, "Yo, BET is on board. We are doing this thing.
Yeah.
Unstoppable Tabooty is a
Yeah.
thing." And it's just been exciting from then. You just learn so many different things. You learn so much about yourself. For me, the best thing about this experience has been sort of becoming more myself.
Yeah.
I have never seen myself like this until this thing. It really allowed me to be open and
Yes.
to also, because you reveal so much about yourself, it teaches you vulnerability as well. There are a lot of scenes where you're shooting, whatever, and then you're like, oh, what did I say that? Oh,
Yeah.
did I reveal that?
Yeah.
And then I say to myself, I hope there's someone who's gonna watch this and think, oh, I can relate to that.
Yeah.
Or, oh, that's me. And that's why I do it. And I think that's been the most exciting thing, realizing how much sharing and sharing our flaws as well can really help the next person also to be like, oh, I have the same thing. And that's been the exciting thing for me. It's just sharing real life. And because I'm doing it with my friends, it's literally, we're real.
Yeah.
There's literally nothing fake about it.
Yeah, yeah. When it comes to being open, though, are you not afraid that at times you'd be sharing a little bit too much and open doors to, like, the negative that you've mentioned on social media, open doors to negativity? Are you not afraid of that, or is there a balance of some
There
sort?
is. So luckily I've dealt with that sort of negativity stuff
Yeah.
and how to sort of approach it and whatever. I've dealt with that. So I'm not too worried about what anyone will say. This is just me living my truth. And if that offends you or that gets to you, look, you're gonna have to deal with it yourself. I'm just living my truth and I'm sharing my truth, and I hope that that truth will be sort of a place of healing for someone else
Yeah.
in the same way that it's been for me. And so the show has been a place of healing for me. So I don't. Sometimes I do have those moments where they say cut and I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
goodness,
Did I just
did
do
I
that?
just
Say
say
that.
that? Yeah. But for the most part, it's not like that. You're just like, I said it, but it's my reality. It's exactly what I'm going through right now,
Yeah.
and it is what it is. So I'm not. You have those moments you worry a little bit.
Yeah.
I think now I had a scene recently with a sexologist or something,
Yeah.
and
Oh my goodness.
yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So that one, for example, it was one of when I saw the promo, I was like, oh, that episode is happening now.
Yeah.
And then I couldn't remember what I had said in there, but I knew that my integrity is intact. Everything I said in there is the truth. It's who I am. And I know it might be a little scary for some people, might be a
Yeah.
little crazy. It was scary for me, but I'm glad I've now reached a point where I can tell my truth. I can say, guys, this is who I am. This is what I do. This is what's happening in my life, and this is my love life, and this is the situation I'm in. And hopefully others can just learn from it. So I'm
Yeah.
not scared anymore. And my mom knows everything about me. My mom and I are very close, so
Yeah.
she's not shocked by anything. So that's like, yeah, then I'm done. I don't have owe anyone else an answer.
Yeah. You've been in this journey, as you've mentioned, for 10 years.
Mm.
Do you feel like you are fulfilling your purpose?
Hundreds now more than ever.
Yeah.
I think before I wasn't. I think okay, reverse.
Y-
I think before I was, but not fully.
Yeah.
I think now,
What changed?
yes, what changed mostly was, I think two things happened.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, I lost my brother,
Mm-hmm.
and that was a very emotional time, obviously. but it was also a time that really gave me a different perspective on life.
Yeah.
And realizing that this time is limited and I can't live my life for other people. I genuinely can't do that. I cannot be living my life to please the next person.
Yeah.
I can't be living my life to be as straight as possible for someone else,
Yes.
or as this, or as that. And so that became the bigger change. And then one thing was, it also made me stop fearing anything. And so a lot of fears of, yo, really, given you think you're gonna do this
Yeah.
thing, ooh, you think you're the one saying. So I lost the fear.
Yeah.
And so that's what was a game changer. I stopped being scared of my own dreams. I stopped being scared of my own talent. I stopped being scared to say, hey, I'd like to try this. I'd like to try that. I think I can do this.
Yeah.
And that stopped. Because then half the time you're scared to ask or do things because you're worried what other people are gonna say.
Exactly.
They're gonna look at you and say, Batung, really? You
Yeah.
think you can do this
Wena.
thing? Wena. So I've lost the fear of that.
Yeah.
Because I now wena
Yeah.
anymore. I have
Yeah.
a thing of, no, I can do it. I actually really, really can do it.
But how did you now begin to implement that mindset? Because there's a lot of people that would like to, but are so, or they don't know how to go about, taking that first step to doing it.
Don't listen to that voice. There's a voice that's going to say, are you sure?
Yeah.
Don't listen to it.
Mm.
Say, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Damn it.
Yeah.
I'm very sure. Or even if it fails out, I'm fine. Don't listen to that voice that says, you really, you
Yeah.
think you're that person? You need to realize when everything you're inspired to do in your life is a divinely planted seed, right? It doesn't come from just nowhere. There's a reason why you want to do the things that you want to do.
Yeah.
And when you're not pursuing that, that seed doesn't grow. And you're gonna feel it even in your body and you're gonna feel that the seed is
There's
not growing
something
because you're not watering it, right?
Yes.
And so water it. Don't listen to someone who's gonna say, are you sure? But you live in the desert, or no, 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 no,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
Water it, water that seed, and let yourself grow into the tree, into the person you're meant to be. And so that's my biggest advice when it comes to that is, first of all, when you hear that voice that says, "Who do you think you are?"
Yeah.
Say, "I am who I think I am."
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is the bigger picture for you?
I'm on my feet, the underdog, and I won't be beat. Turn the lights up now, welcome to the show. I ain't never
Are you a musician?
all I know. My eyes on the prize until I die. I'm gonna rise.
The Dream Stream Music Studio is now available on Sundays for only 295 rands per hour.
We work for a ball in line. We gon' give it our all until the end of time.
It includes a 12-channel desk, a variety of mics and cables, electronic drum kit, and a laptop for recording. Terms and conditions apply and booking is essential. Contact studio at dreamstream.co.za for a site visit.
Yeah, what would you like to accomplish in future, in the years down the line?
Jeez, I think I've entered again. It's like I said, 10 years. So we're wrapping up the first 10,
Yeah.
and now it's about like sort of the next 10, right? What do you do now? Definitely still want to do radio. I love it too much. It's like just it makes me so happy. I wake up in the morning and I want to like, I'm in the car and I'm
Yeah.
just like, oh my god,
Producing, or would you be a host?
all of it.
Okay.
All of it, all of it, all of it, all of it. I don't mind sort of playing in different spaces anymore, and that's what's changed about me. I've
Yes.
stopped boxing myself. I've
Yeah.
said to myself, "Hey, I can do different things. Actually, oh, I can actually do that thing and that thing and the other thing, and I'm gonna do it. I'm not gonna anymore think to myself, oh no, I've been boxed in this space, so that's where we're staying.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
I can move beyond that. So for me, it's remaining in the broadcasting space and doing many other different things and growing and being bigger. I think now I also have the feature on the show where we do sort of inspirational quotes
Yes.
and motivation, and that's something that's very, very close to my heart. So yeah, that's definitely something I want to grow and create that more, and really just build that into something that will help people, right? And I think people just want to hear these messages, and that's why I do it.
Yeah.
And so that's something I definitely want to see more growth in. And then otherwise, world's my oyster. If look, the only thing I'm not going to do is something that's like, I don't know, engineering or something. I'm not going to do that.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
don't want
Yeah.
to be an engineer. But I think if it's media, if it's, radio, television, I like fashion as well. I'll try. I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try whatever I think I can do, and I'm gonna just, do it.
Do you have to study something in order to be anything media related in order to be a content producer?
Not really.
Can you be self-taught and be successful in it?
Hello.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm thinking people are watching out there,
Yeah.
and there's so much going on in the world. Some are finding difficulties to be able to go to school or to
Mm.
get your short courses, So I'm thinking, what routes could people possibly take in order to be what they'd like to be, in order to be a content
Look,
producer, for
this is the
instance?
one business where oftentimes a qualification is not sort of
Yeah.
necessary or
Yes.
expected.
Yeah.
I think, look, doing a studying of a radio or anything like or television or acting or that sort of thing is helpful. You do learn very important critical skills
Yeah.
for sure. So it's not unimportant. I think if you have the funds to do it, and the ability to do it, definitely I'd say do it, especially if you're passionate about it. And they had John Gunny on our breakfast show the other day, and he said something that's very important that I always believe that if you want to be in this business, it has to be the only thing that you literally want to do.
Yeah.
Like when I left Tux all these years back, is because I had a burning desire. I knew that it's going to kill me if I don't do this.
Mm.
Like what I do right now, I do because my life depends on it.
Yeah.
It's simple as that.
Yeah.
My life depends on me doing this. If I'm not doing this, I might as well not be breathing.
Mm.
And so you must know that for starters, if you're
Yeah.
going to be in this business.
Yeah.
That must be a sure thing. Two, though, you must also know that, for example, 10 years at this point, I could have easily said, oh, you know what, now I want to become a lawyer and move into that direction. I don't want to be a lawyer. But for other people, that might be the case. So also realize that sometimes you can actually just do it for a period and
Yeah.
then branch out into other things,
Yes.
as has happened with many other people. There's many people in the industry who were musicians and dancers and this, and right now some of them own, retailers, and others in mining and that sort of
Mm.
thing. And that's also okay. It's good to sort of explore. But if you're not really passionate about it, I wouldn't say do it.
Yeah.
If it's something you find exciting, if you want fame, don't do it.
Yeah.
That's, trust me, fame is actually the worst part of being in
Yeah.
the business.
Yeah.
It genuinely is the worst part of being in
Yeah.
the business. It's great, you can monetize it, but beyond that, it's not nice to be at a restaurant and people are staring at you. Trust me, that's not fun.
Exactly.
That's not a
You're
nice
taking
thing.
pictures when you
It's
try to have a private
it's
moment.
not,
Yeah.
it's not. I'm learning that these days.
Yeah.
The other day was at a grocery store and someone was like, "Hey, tissue, fela."
Go
Yes.
home.
And so that sort of thing, it's not fun. I'm
Mm.
not saying people shouldn't come up to you, whatever. That's fine. We love it, right? You want to receive the love and that sort of thing. But
Mm.
for yourself, that can't be a thing you want to do in your life. Fame can't be
Yes.
your goal.
Yeah.
So do it if you're passionate about it, if you're really talented about it. Also ask people. Like, I think sometimes you don't want to hear their opinions. See how many people, when you say to them, here's, like, I used to do that with a lot of my friends back then. I'd send demos and little scripts
Yeah.
here and this kind of thing, and they'd always praise me for it. So that
Yeah.
helps. You're able to hear, okay, people think that you're really good. If you're hearing a lot of people say, you should be in radio, you
Yes.
should be in television,
Yeah.
you should, then you're perhaps going in the right direction. If you're not hearing anyone saying you should be in radio, you probably shouldn't be in radio. I promise you, I guarantee you. Let me tell you why. My friend Neo,
Yeah.
in grade 11, we were listening to YFM.
Yeah.
Well, she was an avid YFM listener, and then she says to me, given, I think you're gonna work at YFM one day.
Yeah.
I think you're perfect for it. You're gonna work at YFM one day. And I said, oh, okay, whatever. And literally, I think what, like 5, 6 years later, there I was at Y.
Yeah.
But my point is, you have people in your space saying that. I remember when this one girl in high school, so in primary school is when I was the lead in all the plays. But in high school, there wasn't a lot of that. And I remember they were doing the one an MC for the pageant at the school. And this girl who was in the comedy just came up to me and said, I think you'd be a great MC, type
Yeah.
thing. So see, it's people who are actually seeing it in
see
you.
it,
If
yes.
no one is seeing it in you for the longest time, it's probably because it's not there.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's not. I'm just saying if literally no one has
Yeah.
ever said something like that, or no one is sort of reacting to you like that, then it's probably not the thing for
But
you.
I don't jealous. It's within.
Yes, right. Although sometimes some people are a little shy
Yeah.
and they're just not revealing who they
Yes.
truly are, and that's the issue.
Yeah.
But generally you'll hear people say, you're good, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. And but also even for yourself, when you test it out with people as well, and then you have the passion, and then go for it. Go for gold.
Yeah.
If you're good and if it's meant to be and if it's meant for you, it will happen. Simple as that. When I got into the YFM thing, I had nothing. I had no connections in Johannesburg. I was from Pretoria. I had no one. I knew no one. Literally no one. And I wondered how I was going to get into the industry. And all it took was one application. I got in and I've been moving ever since.
Yeah.
And that's a testament to when you have the passion and the talent for it, it'll do its own thing.
And the patience.
100%.
Yeah.
You need to be very patient. Yeah. You need yeah, you had to be patient.
Yeah, because
You,
for some it's easy, for some yay, it will drag.
exactly. And usually
Mm.
the ones where it drags, that's when you're gonna really have
Yeah.
an incredible career. It means you're also just not ready at the time. Like I wouldn't
Mm.
have done this reality show if it was 2 years ago. I would have been terrible for this show.
Yeah.
But now it found me at the time when I was in the right space and right frame of mind to be able to say, okay, I'm ready to show more about my life.
Yeah.
And I'm also ready to be in that space
Mm.
because timing is everything in our careers.
Yeah.
And so what you can do in the meantime is do your best,
Yes.
push as hard as you can, and then God's magic will meet you.
Yeah. What would you tell the young given, the younger version of yourself?
I really should have been thinking about this question more.
Yeah.
What I would tell the younger version of myself is be you, just be yourself. Like,
Mm.
it's so important to be yourself.
Mm.
As a gay man, I grew up, especially when it comes to that, and as a feminine
Yeah.
gay man, I grew up in a space kept on telling me to be straighter,
Yeah.
to be this more, to be more of that, to be less of this.
Mm.
And I would adapt to that. And I realized by the time I was, I look at some of my class photos and my school pictures, and I'm so upset at myself because literally in the pictures you can see I'm trying to be as like, hey, Steve, and
Yes.
like I'm trying to be as manly as
Masculine.
possible, as masculine as possible. And it saddens me because that's sad. That's not who I am.
Yeah.
Like, there's no charisma in that. There's
Yeah.
none of it. So follow your charisma.
Mm.
Anything that gives you like that sort of passion where you can feel happy when you're fully aligned with your personality,
Mm.
your true personality, you feel happy. There's a weight that's off your shoulder
Yeah.
because you're just being yourself
Mm.
and no one else. You're being yourself.
Yes.
So what I would say to young given is be yourself. Don't change for anyone. Don't try to be like everyone. Just be who you are.
Yeah.
To a point where I remember my other name is Boane.
Mm.
It's a very unique name.
Very.
And I didn't want it.
Yeah.
And I didn't want it because it was so unique.
Yeah.
Imagine
Imagine
imagine that.
that.
Because you're like, yo, I want to be like everyone else.
Mm.
My thing to young given now is don't want to be like everyone else.
Yeah.
Be like you.
Yeah.
Be like you.
And what would you say to those that are watching right now and would like to get into content producing and also would like to just follow a path where they are themselves? They are 100% authentically themselves.
In terms of content, um, firstly, like I said, follow your bliss.
Mm.
So if it's what you want to do and you truly feel it on the inside, like at the pit of your stomach,
Yeah.
literally your life depends on it. Start there.
Yeah.
Study the craft. You have to learn. You have to sort of spend time figuring out what this thing is, how it's done. It's not necessarily just shadowing given in a studio. It's sometimes just listening.
Yeah.
Like listening, you can listen and hear. If you listen to radio often enough, as content producers at all stations, we all kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
We have the same structure in our minds, how a show works,
Yeah.
how a link is structured, and that sort of thing. So if you're into that business, do that. Spend a lot of time thinking, listening with that ear of, oh, that sounded like this. Pick those
Yeah.
things up. Because one day when you finally get into the seat, it's gonna be so funny how important those skills were. That's how on my first day on the job was, well, not the very first day.
Yeah.
Let me not exaggerate. It was like 2 months into my internship,
Yeah.
and we were doing the 2009 elections.
Mm.
No, 2009 I was in high school. 2014.
Yeah.
2014. And I remember they asked us to go and be reporters and that sort of thing. Kinda intern, I've never done any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But I spent many, many months, many years listening to bulletins, but listening to them with that ear, hey? So I had an idea of what's going on.
Yes.
So by the time I was asked to file a report,
Yeah.
I kind of sort of understood how to do it. I
Right.
needed help here and there, but I understood how to do it. So
knew
it
the
was
crux of
very
it.
natural for me. So the minute, so that meant I was able to hit the ground running. Everyone was shocked. They were like, "Have you ever done this before?" And I was like, "No, I just observed."
Yeah.
And so observation, observation, observation. Watch, really take it and be like, I wonder how this works or whatever. And you also now, unlike, well, I mean, I'm not that old, but but YouTube wasn't like a big thing when I was growing up.
Yeah.
But for people now, even data is also not that sort of hard to come by. Wi-Fi is everywhere, that sort of thing. Go on YouTube. You'll find a lot of tutorials about how this works or how that works. You watch this on Dreamstream and
Yes.
you'll be able to learn how that sort of thing works and find the processes and that sort of thing. And so right now you also have a lot of resources to do that. So study the craft as much as you possibly can. And then start calling out people, start reaching out to people. Don't harass people,
Yeah.
but reach out properly. Be very strategic about how you do that and
Yes.
reach out where you can, knock on doors as often as possible as you can. Don't lose the patience as well, because sometimes you're gonna feel like, oh, someone is not opening the door. Oftentimes it's not even that it's about you, they're just busy or other things are a priority at the
Yes.
time, and that's how it is. So don't take it personally either. Just know that when it's your time, that door will finally
It will
open.
happen.
So just keep knocking on the doors
Yeah.
essentially, and then one will go down.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you so much for joining me today, Given. I truly appreciate you and your time. All the best for your future endeavors. Would you go into television?
Yeah,
Not
100%.
reality, but producing or
100%,
in,
100%,
is it?
100%, 100%. I want to do that.
Uh,
It's 100% media, television. So broadcasting is my
yeah.
thing, whether it's radio or television. I'm glad that radio happened first because I think had I gotten into television first,
Yes.
I would have never even thought to do radio.
Is
So I'm
it?
glad that radio happened first
Uh,
because then now I realize how much I love radio,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
and then but I still have the love for television as well.
yeah.
So I can do both. So why not?
Why not? Thank you so much for joining me. And to you, our beautiful viewers, thank you so much for watching. Truly appreciate you. Have a fantastic one. Until next time.